be some draws where you have actually a really hard time losing, you get to burn your opponent out. Some draws where things just don't line up very well at all. We'll see how things are going right now as Kevin is resolving an Elspeth, it appears. He's also cast a couple copies of Dig Through Time, so 3 soldiers on the way here from Elspeth. You can see Ingram's hand. He does have a copy of Drown in Sorrow. Looks like there's also a copy of Ultimate Price over there as well. So we'll see if Ingram can actually get through the Elspeth. Windswept Teeth was the draw.
What I really like about this matchup for Jeskai Aggro is you have an edge early on in the game because your curve's pretty smooth, and if Abzan stumbles, you can push him out of the game with your haste threats. And you aren't necessarily dead if the game goes on for a long time, especially post-board. You have access to a lot of copies of Dig Through Time, things like Narset, Transcendent, Elspeth, Sun's Champion. You have a late game staying power with them. So you're ahead early, and you're not necessarily behind late. It's usually a good combination.
Here come the soldiers. 2 will be attacking, 3 will be entering the battlefield thanks to Elspeth. Let's see if Jones has a healthy follow-up here. So he might have a copy of Soulfire Grandmaster. And he does, with a copy of Roast in hand. I've seen worse turns.
Sure.
He'll activate the Grandmaster. Ingram will take a look. I don't think he's going to like what he reads.
Yep.
Ingram probably wondering if I can respond to this ability. How does this work?
It's not predicated on Soulfire Grandmaster being in play.
Yep.
So this just happens.
Yep.
Now Peter can go ahead and kill Soulfire Grandmaster, but that doesn't do anything about the roast.
Kevin gets to resolve Roast. Gets to gain 5 life.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Gets to keep his Roast and pass the turn back. Use all of his mana for the turn. Ingram's going to sacrifice the land here. Going to go down to 10. Going to search up a forest. Okay, remember, round 6 here in Baltimore. If you are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan. We're talking about Magic Origins all weekend long. Looking to take your questions about that sweet-looking set. Any cards you guys want us to talk about, at SCG Live, hashtag SCGBALT, all weekend long.
Peter with a very reactive hand. Good against individual threats, but not good against Elspeth.
Here's Drown in Sorrow. That's going to clean everything up. Peter will get the Scry. He leaves that card on top pretty quickly. Now here's a Siege Rhino.
I imagine that card's either a Hero's Downfall or a way to get a Hero's Downfall out of the graveyard.
Yeah. Need some way to get Elspeth off the battlefield. Jones with only a copy of Roast in hand. He'll draw a card. Didn't get a great look, but it did appear to be a land. It is a Flooded Strand. And when your opponent leaves a card on top very quickly with that Temple, or excuse me, with that Scry from Drown in Sorrow, like Peter did, you can't imagine your Elspeth is going to be lasting very long.
Right, which is in this weird way, Kevin's almost incentivized to minus the Elspeth in this spot, because if I'm in Kevin's spot, I'm just assuming that the Elspeth's going to die to a Hero's Downfall. You can keep the Roast in your hand.
Well, Abzan Charm appears to be the draw.
Okay. I guess Abzan Charm is better than Scrying if your life total isn't a concern.
Which currently it's not. So Peter's going to draw 2 cards at the cost of 2 life. See if he can get a little closer to Hero's Downfall. And Hostilities and Siege Rhino is what he's found.
Still no answer to Elspeth. These are cards that buy him a fair bit of time. But it is not an answer.
Well, it's actually interesting right now is, you know, if Peter decides, okay, I'm going to play Siege Rhino, pass his turn back, does Kevin go Ultimate with his Elspeth or not? Well, if he goes Ultimate, Peter says, okay, I'll end Hostilities, kill everything, and I hope you just don't find anything.
If Peter doesn't have the mana left over to BioBlight, there's an argument for it, but he's looked at so many cards. I think that Kevin is going to do whatever he can to keep Elspeth in play. If Peter had Hero's Downfall in hand, he would have casted this turn for sure over the Siege Rhino. And so if I'm Kevin, I'm just assuming that, you know, he's got removal spells in his deck. He's got ways to buy time. If Kevin draws a card that allows him to attack for lethal, he'll go Ultimate. But I think otherwise he's either going to try to draw a removal spell for Siege Rhino or maybe minus Elspeth and keep trucking in. Weather the storm of Peter's removal spells and not try to get too greedy here.
Well, the way for Kevin to go lethal is if he finds Mantis Rider.
Yes, Mantis Rider sets him up for an exactly lethal attack.
We call that the Kevin Jones Invitational card. He's been casting it ever since it's been legal. And now he's reaching around for some mana, so this is getting interesting. What does he have here? A Morph.
And that's a real good one.
And he's cashing in.
Now that morph is an incentive to go set up this line of play.
Got that protection now.
Now it's still vulnerable to removal spell plus and hostilities.
Particular removal spells.
Yes.
Because the removal spell that Peter has in his hand before he drew was a copy of Ultimate Price.
That's no help.
That's no help at all.
But now he's drawing Drown in Sorrow.
That's no help either. Elspeth Emblem.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, you can cast that Drown Sorrow all you want. That's no help. Doesn't kill anything. Now the question is does Kevin know that?
Yeah, and Kevin said,
because Kevin should be saying that resolves. You get to scry if you want. I think Peter thought, yes, this is the answer I'm looking for because I know what your morph is. Now here's on hostilities, unmorph. Stratus Dancer is going to counter that, and that's going to get the job done. So Kevin Jones is going to win this match here over Peter Ingram, 2-1. Jeskai Aggro will take care of Abzan Control, and a very, very, very timely Stratus Dancer.
Yeah, that was the perfect card for that situation. Now, with that said, if Kevin doesn't draw Stratus Dancer that turn, it's not like he's dead. I just think you see a different line of play. He probably minuses Elspeth and takes care of Sea Drino and keeps battling on. But certainly that draw was perfect there.
Yeah.
Allowed him to get very aggressive with the Elspeth Emblem. No